Speaking of balls, let's get to the Chinese communist spies. This is
wait. I mean, truly though.
Eric Swalwell.
And by the hey, have you noticed? Let's go to CNN. They have not talked about this at all.
No.
They're talking about vaccines and how only 55% of people will take one, and they want you to be required and mandated. And let's not even want to get into the vaccine stuff right now because, but they're not.
It's just turtleneck and turtle club.
It's turtleneck and turtle. Now, is that Poppy Harlow?
Yes,
that's Poppy.
Oh, see, it's very hard for me to tell them apart.
Yeah.
Understandably.
It's not really not your
What
fault.
do you mean them?
Blondes.
All of the hosts.
Yep. Blondes and sixes. You would think this is news, considering how they ran on Russia, right? Russia for a very long time about our constitutional republic being compromised.
Right.
Nothing on the fact that verifiably China. This is almost a rehash of what happened with Anthony Weiner. They tried to blame it on that guy, Andrew Breitbart, when he actually had the video. He had the pictures, and he told the press that he had the pictures. And they said, okay, how do we start a disinformation campaign to discredit Andrew Breitbart? And people only found out about Anthony Weiner because Andrew Breitbart took over his podium at a press conference that was planned. I remember this clear as day. You could hear people running down the hallways of the lobby yelling, Breitbart's in the building! And you just saw a wave of terror. Go and Google that Anthony Weiner press conference, Andrew Breitbart. That is the watershed moment where the media realized, we don't control everything anymore. I'm not talking about Breitbart, the trademark. That man who was the first human being to RSVP at my wedding, and I miss him. He is gone. But this is what's happening right now. The term gaslighting is thrown around a whole lot. Yeah. And I feel a lot of conservatives are feeling that where you're not crazy. It's mental warfare. They want to make you feel alone right now. No, we know verifiably that there have been Chinese spies, communist spies, who have compromised American elected officials. This doesn't mean that governments are all working together just so that Eric Swalwell can get a handy in a bathroom. But he did get more than a handy in a bathroom, and the guy did run for president. The fact that it was painfully unsuccessful doesn't matter. It could happen to anyone.
At least he got something out of it.
So Axios published a bombshell. A bombshell if it was anyone other than Swalwell. On how this Chinese spy named Fang Fang.
That's not racist.
That was me. That was my fault.
Was able to infiltrate California political circles. There were at least 2 of Fang's sexual interactions were caught on FBI surveillance.
What?
Wow.
George Michael did a better job.
Dude.
Here's the thing, Eric Swalwell, I don't expect you to honor our constitutional constraints and the founding principles of our republic. Just use a porta potty.
Something with some walls.
And if you're a spy for another country and you get caught by FBI surveillance, you're not a very good spy.
No, you're not a very good spy.
Didn't work out.
You're not a very good spy if you target Eric Swalwell thinking he's the key to power.
Talk about
lowest common
compromising
denominator.
and how easy it is. You know the Chinese spy, this is my favorite quote from it. Okay, maybe we'll go on. The quote from the Axios article, one of the, quote, most significant targets of Fang's efforts was Representative Eric Swalwell. Caught on 2 surveillance. How did that work? How stupid! Oh man, I have a fantasy. You ever have a fantasy of having a sex in a wide open field with telephone pole and blinking red lights? No, I don't. I thought, can you be selfless? You're supposed to put my needs first.
I'm going to ride this dope to the top.
Well, can you imagine being the other 2 guys that are not as important as Swalwell in this article? It says the most significant target. You're like, son of a...
Second and third to Swalwell.
I can't get a sex spy.
There is an epidemic of communist Chinese spy whores, and the media is not talking about it. This actually happened. And by the way, just in case YouTube wants to remove this, the Chinese communist, and I want to be clear when I say this, the Chi-Commune is a Chinese communist party. Okay?
Right,
Unlike LeBron James and Disney, we actually pointed out the protests in Hong Kong and people who were singing the national anthem because we're their only hope. When you talk about American-Chinese relationships, Democratic Party, I'm looking in your direction, and big tech, but I repeat myself, what you really are doing is removing hope from the actual citizens of China who hope for a better life someday. We're the shining city on a hill, and you're putting it out like a candle snuffer from the mom and E.T., okay? That's what you're doing for these Chinese people. Let's separate the Chinese government from the people. Love the people, beautiful women, I will say it.
Yeah, why not?
Guys, sorry, you just gotta, the math.
Sure, yeah.
The Chinese have been doing this. The Chinese
Sounds like an
Communist Party, and now from now on, I will say Chi Coms are Chinese. Hopefully, we've established this.
Because it's short. Like
They've
Chinese
been doing this for. I'm just going to say Cha. They've been doing this for a long time. How do I know? They've said it. Here you go.
前边特朗普政府跟我们打贸易战，那么我们为什么搞不定特朗普政府？啊？为什么以前
Sorry for the
1992
audio
年到
listener.
2016年之间
We're not playing a
中美之间
record
各种问题都能搞定，是不是？大家发现没有？所有的危机，不管是银河号事件，还是炸大使馆，还是撞了飞机，所有事情全部是床头吵架床尾和，2个月之内搞定。
Look at this. They're talking about
这儿我
compromising
抛出
the
一个
United States
可能又要
government
是暴论啊
and Donald Trump
就是
acting as a
因为
block.
咱们上边有人
It's because we
我
have
们在
people
美
at the
国的
top.
权势核心圈啊。
At the top of America's
我们
core
有
inner
我们的
circle of
老朋友。
power and influence, we have old friends. John Lennon is dead. That's what happened.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so sad.
The devil.
So that's a guy saying, hey, we've always managed to have some people in the powerful inner circles at the top
Right.
in the United States, and it hasn't been the case with this administration. This is something that people have known behind the scenes for a while, but
Right.
might be banned if they talk about. But now that Axios, who I believe is considered a reputable source, though that number is being whittled down by the day if they report news, hopefully now some people will pay attention to it. And if you don't believe, I don't know how to, I'm trying to avoid pronouncing names. Is his name Dongsheng? Dongsheng?
I don't. Yeah. Who knows?
Oh, gosh. If you don't believe that gentleman, whose name I can't pronounce, just listen to California Senator Dianne Feinstein in 2013.
I'm especially pleased that California's first trade office has its home in Shanghai. And I have a very special connection with Shanghai. As mayor of San Francisco a long time ago, I had the honor of establishing a sister city relationship with Shanghai. It was the first sister city relationship
Before they drowned the sister city in a
between the United
bathtub.
States and a Chinese
brother
city.
city.
And to this very day, I remember Mayor Wang Daohan very well, and Jiang Zemin and Mayor Zhu Rongji, two of which, both Jiang and
Don't pull out that
Zhu,
board game.
became president and premier, respectively, of the country. The relationship, though, yielded tremendous economic and cultural benefits. And that's
American
been true
worker?
over the past 30 years.
Oh, yeah.
I know this
When I
new
think
office
allies, I think
will build on the
Chinese.
powerful and unique partnership between California and China.
Just hold on a moment. We have to go to your good friend running someone over with a tank for singing the American national anthem. Cultural benefits. And by the way, I want to be clear too, this doesn't mean that everything made in China or made in Taiwan is bad, because if you're talking about something that's made by Chinese communists or American Union communists, the Chinese have better prices. So, made in America,
Yeah,
if we're
exactly.
talking about right to work, very different than union gunpoint. By the way, let's be really clear as we talk about Fang Fang fundraised for Swalwell's campaign, re-election specifically,
Yeah.
and helped place, according to at least one intern in Swalwell's office.
Which is not a euphemism.
No, not a euphemism.
No.
And this
No.
isn't either. She was, quote, everywhere.
Again, not
These are actual quotes.
not a euphemism.
Come on, grow up.
I know we might get fact checked for it not being news, but you have a problem with Axios, Dianne Feinstein, and Zhang Zhang?
I mean, she was everywhere.
She was everywhere. By the way, hit the
still up.
notification bell if you're subscribed. Hit the notification bell if you're subscribed, because subscriptions don't mean a whole lot right now. Weekday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern. And like I said, we will be doing an Ask Me Anything on the 3 to 6 hour live stream
Yeah.
driving through Nevada to bogus addresses next Thursday.
Yes.
So leave your comment below. That's the best
Yes.
thing you can do right now, is just leave a comment, because YouTube can't ban us all. Leave a comment, whatever it is that you feel like asking me. Here's another thing. This is just so hard.
Such a funny story.
It's so hard to cover a topic like this. First off, I don't care. It's in my head because right before we went live, this is when Google and YouTube issued that statement that they're going to fact check it. I don't, you know what? I think this relates to an election when you had a presidential candidate who was compromised by a Chinese sex spy. I think that creates a liability in the representatives of our constitutional republic.
Right.
Yeah.
And just because she chose poorly as to who to
Right.
go
It's not
for.
her fault.
They don't know.
Right.
If you told
You
me
don't-
I
you
had
never
to go, I had to go sleep my way to the top of the Chinese Communist Party, I wouldn't know where to start.
Yeah. Well, maybe
not
they all,
Swalwell, though.
maybe we all look alike to them.
Well, I don't know what your starting point is.
Politicians.
Because I appreciate all the wondrous splendor that is the diverse palette of China. I can recognize all of them. By the way, and in the spirit of being fair here, okay, I don't like doggy piling on anyone, okay? I don't like being a member of the bully gang, the bully pulpit. And Eric Swalwell has his hands full. He has for a long time. His fingers full.
Yeah. Right.
Pincers. Like tuning in old radio. But people have been saying, how are you going to incorporate the Eric Swalwell farting thing? Look, it's hacky, and I don't want to be unfair to the guy.
Yeah.
It's a serious issue.
Yeah.
It's no laughing matter. You guys all of you out there could use an education. Just grow up.
Discomfort, irritation, embarrassment,
to help them cheat an election. And the complaint
mild to severe short-term incontinence due to pegging from communist spies is no laughing matter. But there is relief. President Donald Trump. The Chinese Communist Party has no greater fear than that this jolly orange giant has 4 more years in office. And your state can join in on the lawsuit from Texas to kick out the Chi-Coms. Together, we can put an end to Chinese spy pegging-induced short to medium-term incontinence. There is a solution. Paid for by the Pact to End Chinese Spy-Induced Mild to Severe Short-Term Incontinence.
Mild to severe.
It's an important cause.
It's an important
I know where I'm
cause.
donating next. Yeah.
It's almost like it's preventable.
Yeah.
This isn't a conspiracy. I want to be really clear about all this. This is from Axios. We just listened to Chinese representatives. We just listened to Dianne Feinstein. Eric Swalwell has yet to comment, and we can also go back through the tape because the internet is forever, where he downplayed the idea of China, again, the Communist Party of China, who abuses its own citizens, commits gross atrocities against human rights. Eric Swalwell downplaying that Chinese party, those Chi-Coms, as a threat.
I'm very concerned, though, that today the president's administration put out a statement that you have China and Russia and Iran, and they're all interfering, and gave this false equivalence to them. And Nicole, this would be like if a meteorologist saw that there was going to be snowflakes in the Rockies, a lightning storm in the Midwest, and a Category 5 hurricane to hit the East Coast, and just put out an alert that there's going to be a weather event this weekend. That is the equivalent of what they have done, I think, to politically protect the president.
It's so much worse when you watch that back and understand in context that he seemed rushed for an appointment with a lady named Fang and a ball gag. At that time, he was being compromised on video.
And I think you got the Ted
What
Cruz
point do we get
beard.
to treason? What point do we get to seriously? What point do we get to treason?
Yeah.
Or I guess maybe if he didn't know she's a spy. Okay, so that's not treason.
Yeah.
He didn't know she was a spy.
I guess that would be the defense.
Watch Good Morning Mug Club live every Monday through Thursday at 10:15 Eastern.